Hello. When people within a team are able to collaborate, the team is able to produce magical results. And when teams across the organization are able to collaborate, the organization produces great results. Collaboration leads to conservation of resources, optimization of resources. And that is why leaders in the organization must work towards creating a culture of collaboration. What is it that leaders can start doing to create such a culture? That's what I'm going to share with you, how to create culture of collaboration. Let us begin. The first point is lead by example. It simply means that leaders by their own behavior need to set an example that they value collaboration. When leaders amongst themselves demonstrate consciously that collaboration is important in this organization, the message will go down the organization simply because people are observing the behavior of leaders. And that's when they will also start collaborating. That is why leaders first need to demonstrate, yes, collaboration is important. Second important point is create a sense of community and collaborative culture. The word important here is create. That means by their own actions, by their conscious actions, they need to start setting a culture where people value being with each other. That is community culture. And at the same time, they demonstrate that they are collaborating with each other. This becomes a culture of the organization, which means as and when there is a need, people can easily go out to other people, other departments, other verticals and take their support, and they are ready to work with each other and understand that by doing so, a lot of organizational energy is conserved, saved, and they are able to produce the results, perhaps which may surprise everyone. So set a culture, create a culture. Next important point is make sure that everyone is on the same page. What it means is that everyone must know very clearly as to where we are headed, how we are headed. That is absolutely important. Otherwise, the energies start working on cross purposes. That's why everyone must know. Leaders must understand in an organization that just by putting their goals, putting their values on the walls of the organization or on some important documentation, people will understand everything. It does not happen that way. I wish it would be as simple. That is why leaders need to constantly communicate, constantly reiterate what are the values, what are the goals that are to be achieved, why they are important, and that must be an integral part of every communication. That is when people slowly and steadily come on the same page, and it's very important to make sure that. Next important point is practice transparency, and it must begin from the top. What it means is that leaders are open in communications. Leaders are able to express themselves openly as to the policies, decisions that they are taking, and there is nothing going on behind the scene. When things go behind the scene, people keep on guessing again and again, and that guessing game consumes a lot of energy, creates negative vibes in the organization. That is why transparency is very important and it must start from the top level. Next important point is encourage consistent and open communication. Very important element of any organization which is striving towards collaboration is that there needs to be a lot of communication happening all the time. So consistent communication is very important. And it is said about communication, no communication is ever more than what may be required. More communication, the better it is. So leaders need to constantly communicate, and not only that, they must show that they are open to communication, which means that whenever people want to reach out to them, they are receptive to them. It is simply said that having an open door policy does not necessarily mean leaders are open to communication. This is very important. It may be symbolic, but it's not necessary that leaders are open to communication. Leaders must demonstrate it by their behavior that they are ready to listen to everyone as and when required. Next important point is encourage open feedback. I've been saying in the last couple of videos that feedback is a very, very powerful tool that any organization can use. When we are working towards collaboration in an organization, feedback becomes even more important. Are we constantly giving feedback to each other in terms of whether the things are going right, in terms of where the course correction may be required, which teams need support, which teams need encouragement, which teams are doing well. All that feedback becomes very important for the collective growth of the organization. So practice more and more open feedback. Next important point is enable empathy and understanding. This is another point that I reiterate, that human beings are feeling people. We operate from our feelings. Our feelings are very valuable, very important to us. Knowingly or unknowingly, they dictate our behavior. That is why leaders need to empathize with their people. And empathy here means understanding the feelings of people. Let's just take an example. An employee who had been showing consistent performance had shown drop in performance for some time. What is the reason behind that? Are leaders able to understand by the feelings of that person as to what may be influencing drop in productivity? Many times we just look at numbers and reprimand people rather than understanding the cause behind that. And when that cause is addressed by empathy, perhaps people start performing better again. So that is why empathy is very important, and that's when you start understanding people more and people start respecting you more because they feel that emotional connect with the organization and its leaders. Next important point is share technology and information. We are living in a world of technology, and maybe one department has acquired some technology which is helping and supporting in their systems and processes, and that needs to be demonstrated to other departments so that they can also benefit from similar technology if it is useful to them. Another important mention here is sharing of information. In today's world, information is power. Whosoever holds the information starts gaining power, knowingly, unknowingly. And in an organization, for it to function well, information needs to be shared openly and easily. Of course, there is some set of confidential information. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about information which generally comes to the know of any individual in any department. And there needs to be a way to share it with others so that they can also start making use of the information and start taking more informed decisions. Many times it happens in organizations, when information comes, there is an assumed power and people withhold that information. That becomes counterproductive for the functioning of the organization. So create a culture where information is shared easily. And the last point that I'm mentioning is get to know other departmental processes. Every department has its own way of functioning. And when you make a conscious attempt to understand their processes, you are also making an attempt to understand what are the challenges they face on day-to-day basis. And when you understand challenges of other departments, obviously, you'll be able to understand them better, you'll be able to empathize with them, and perhaps you may also be able to provide solutions to them. That is how culture of collaboration is built, and it is built over a period of time. As I said in the beginning, I'm reiterating that culture of collaboration conserves a lot of energy of the organization and at the same time raises performance levels to standards which may not have been seen by the organization earlier. That is why, as leaders, you must work towards creating a culture of collaboration. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in my next video. Stay safe, stay healthy.